Weehawken, no, and I can also speak for West New York because Weehawken and West New York are two geographically similar communities. And it's very different than Jersey City, and it's really a privilege to be on a panel with Mayor Fulop. Jersey City is indeed popping all over the place, and Journal Square is going to be the next big area. North Hudson's a little different. If you're familiar with North Hudson, we are on the Palisades, so the upland, the developed part of our West New York and Weehawken are 180 feet above the waterfront. And so, and very wealthy neighborhoods usually border Boulevard East and the areas. And preservation of the views, preservation of the view of the river and the view of Manhattan skyline dominates everything. So that all of the development discussion centers around preservation of those views. It's been a 40-year odyssey on how to develop the northern waterfront. Jersey City has tremendous mass transit opportunities. We had zero. We had shipping and rail yards all bankrupt by the late 60s, early 70s. The land sat vacant, most of the land, for 30 years. I think the last terminal closed down in 1975. And many proposals, many proposals, all fought by the residents. How big? He's a associate now, the founder of New York Waterway, Arthur and Pierre Tour, first came in with 50-story buildings. People, 50-story is nothing in Jersey City. But when you're blocking people's views, it's very big. So many proposals, community outcry, and developers were pictured as bad. Realtors were pictured as bad, especially if they were associated with developers. And then towards the late 80s, and I would say, I guess in the 90s, we started to change the attitude. That if you're going to, you can't have 25%, 30% of our communities, is what the waterfront represents, being fallow and bringing nothing back. The waterfront in Weehawken, when it was industrial in West New York, used to pay 40% of the tax base. It became zero, so the burden obviously shifted to the homeowners and the residences. So we developed a master plan, planned unit development, probably 300 public meetings, public hearings, all the residents, all the inputs, and we sat down with the developers. Back then it was Roseland Properties and Harts Mountain, our two main developers. And by 2002 is when we finalized the plan that everybody accepted. And now that plan is moving forward. And all the preliminary approvals have been in place. Now they do final approvals, and it moves forward. But it took a long time for the residents to realize that fighting development hurts themselves. Developers will not get everything they want. Realtors cannot have everything they want. The community will never get everything it wants, so you reach a compromise. And from there, development went forward.